Hi guys, my name is Charlie Bradley Ross and welcome to the Members Club. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about something that is imminent, which is of course Christmas. And I think sometimes it can be really, really difficult to balance being sustainable and being an ethical brand with wanting to celebrate Christmas, which can quite often be about overconsumption and buying lots of things. And how do you balance something when you're trying to run a business and actually the extra sales you could make might help your business and might help your social enterprise, but you don't want to negatively impact the planet and have anything to do with that sort of negative consumption and that kind of behavior. So we've come up with a quick 12 ways to do Christmas sustainably in business checklist. Of course, the facts about waste at Christmas are totally startling. Over this period, we produce on average 30% more waste than usual. And figures like the amount of wrapping paper used for presents in the UK is enough to wrap the equator at 9 times. Unbelievable. And 9 billion Christmas cards end up in the waste. When they could easily be recycled or reused. So it's a really tough line to balance. So while you don't really want to be a grinch, and a lift in your sales would support social enterprises in doing something a little bit more good or that kind of thing, it's the fact of the matter is that Christmas is causing extortionate amount of unnecessary wastage and contributing to a much larger problem around consumption and waste in general, particularly around the mindset of that, which is something that we see particularly in the UK and the US, for example. So, thankfully, this is not to say that you can't be generous over the Christmas period without playing into consumerism. So here are our top 12 ways to a more mindful and sustainable Christmas, whether that be in your business or in the gifts you give your loved ones yourself. The first thing I would say, is to promote your wares alongside ethical brands and pre-loved goods. So Ali Clifford was one of our guest panelists at our recent event, How to Combat Overconsumption at Christmas. So if you're a member, of course, please do watch that video. It's really, really informative. But this was one of her takeaways was, it's all about supporting other brands. So writing a Christmas gift guide blog post or putting out social media posts featuring like-minded brands is a really good way to create content. It's also amazing for your SEO, search engine optimization, as well as highlighting a lot of brands that maybe your customers haven't heard of before. So as I say, the recording's already in the Members Club. I'll put a little link to that below if you are a member. A second way you can combat this is looking into alternatives to wrapping paper and gift wrapping. So recycled brown paper or newspaper are really, really great options. Or you can get creative. How about old magazines? And you could even do something like collaging them together to really represent your brand. Another thing you can do is look into alternatives, which are like, for example, reusable wrapping. So companies like Rewrap, that's basically their core market. That's what they do, rather, is they create ways to package your products that aren't in disposable packaging. So it's not paper, it's not cardboard, it's like fabrics, for example. So you could wrap your gifts in tote bags, which are reusable, or you could wrap your gifts in headscarves, things like that a customer would actually be kind of ultra delighted to have, and something that they're more likely to keep and to use, if not to re-gift it to somebody else. Those kinds of things are really, really, really great. So if you're interested in learning a bit more about Rewrap were featured in our recent masterclass in the Members Club, where they introduced us to some new ideas and discussed what it's like to work with some really big clients like Lush, which is, if you haven't heard of them before, is a really big vegan and cruelty-free cosmetics company that was launched here in the UK. So our next tip is, as a business, be mindful when you're posting your orders. So we've heard this a lot in this industry, avoid using unnecessary wrapping. So try not to wrap each item individually if they're not likely to be damaged in the post, like clothing that doesn't need to be wrapped, and never ever use single-use plastic or non-biodegradable sellotape, cellophane. It's so easy to get hold of biodegradable packaging now. Again, we've got a big masterclass on that, so if you're still struggling, please do have a look in there and make sure you're purchasing all of your materials in an eco-friendly way. Number 4, don't let your Christmas cards be some of the 9 billion that end up in the bin. So a top tip from Jen Gale during that event that I mentioned last week. If you're sending Christmas cards for your business, why not reclaim last year's cards and make postcards? You don't even need envelopes then. You can literally use them as they are. Again, that recording can be found in the Members Club, and I'll link to that below. Number 5, consider the waste your business is producing. So could your food waste be donated to food kitchens? In the UK, you can, it's really easy to find your local food bank. Again, I'll put a little link down below so you can do that. And if you've got any leftover or excess stock, especially clothing, that could be really, really beneficial to charities. And there are lots of charities around this time of year who are very happy to take your excess stock for you. Number 6, the gift of experience requires almost no material items or packaging. So what better way to show someone you love them than with a present you can both enjoy together? This is actually one of my favourite ways to give presents at the moment, is to offer something, or not offer, sorry, is to purchase something that we can experience together, something different, something really fun, something that you can create memories around. I think it's really special, and you're not buying into products that maybe somebody doesn't want, doesn't like, won't keep, and really kind of contributing to this sort of mass consumption thing that we're in the middle of. So if you're a business, why not, alongside your wares, if you've got physical products, could you offer a making experience, a personal styling session, or cooking classes, or wine tasting evenings, or a weekend retreat? Weekend retreats are very popular at the moment, and I think they're a really, really beautiful way to kind of create something new, really add value to what you're doing, something special, something one-off, really in the spirit of Christmas and the spirit of giving as well. Number 7, upcycle instead of throwing away old items. So see how you could transform something that might be heading for the bin, or turn them into something unusual for gifting, or in-store signage and displays. This can really apply to anything. So old clothes, jars, bottles, etc. Also, this kind of ties into something that we talked about in our selling masterclass. If something isn't selling, is there a way that you could recut it into a new style? Could you shorten the sleeves, take up the hems? Just don't let it go to waste. Number 8, branch out into homemade treats. This is something that I am doing myself this year for all of our Christmas parties. It kind of only just dawned on me a few months ago. I think I was reading somebody's zero waste Christmas article, and it suddenly occurred to me, all of the treats that you usually kind of serve in your mince pies, it all comes wrapped in these tiny little plastic packaging, and it's really, really wasteful. And it's kind of like a great fun idea to get some homemade chutneys on the go, or cakes, little cookies, chocolates, and it's actually if you can turn it into like a really nice evening of making and baking with your family as well, that's also a really nice way to do that. And in the business setting, the kind of homemade jams and chutneys can make really nice in-store gifts, or in-store kind of experience additions. So if you're having, if you're going to throw a nice cocktail party, or an evening of bubbles with a personal stylist coming in, then try and have something that's a bit more homemade, something that doesn't require lots of packaging and plastic. I know we've already got so much stuff on the go, but if you can whip up a nice batch of something easy, actually a top tip that we did was to do some really easy pastry. So roll up some pastry, cut them into little squares, and top them with like tiny little toppings of bits of cheese and onion, olive, tomatoes, really nice fresh veg. They cook really easily. It's really, really simple, and yeah, much less waste and plastic this year than last year for sure. Number 9, create your own Christmas decorations. So shop-bought Christmas decorations are usually covered in things like glitter, which is made from really tiny pieces of plastic, so they can't be recycled. And the decorations themselves might also not be made from sustainable materials. So if you are looking at getting some decorations, why not making it into an after work team bonding evening, or maybe part of a festive event for your customers? If you love glitter, which I also do, disco dust is a really great way to get your glitter fix. So it's 100% biodegradable, derived from sustainable sources. So, why spend funds on decorations when you can go outside and find free supplies as well? So, Mother Nature has many, many beautiful things that we can borrow, and you can turn this into a really nice relational experience as well by taking foraging trips with colleagues, tie it into a nice pub lunch or something, or, colleagues or customers. Or other local businesses as well. So head to the nearest forest or nice wooded area and take a walk, see what you can find. And really important, it sounds a bit ridiculous, but when you're finished, don't forget to put them back. So you're not affecting the local flora and fauna of the area as well. Number 10, be mindful of the energy you're using over Christmas. And actually, this is kind of mindful of any time of year. But especially in the stores, try to turn off Christmas lights overnight to save excess energy usage and, of course, money. And if you are using lighting, try and go for energy efficient light bulbs. Actually, you can do really, really clever things with very minimal lighting if you're trying to create a sort of atmospheric shop or display. So really be clever about how you're using those resources, and also you'll be saving your money as well. Number 11, I thought this was quite a different tip and I really, really liked it. How about this year foregoing the company's Secret Santa and maybe donating something to charity? So Secret Santa can be a really fun way to get into the festivities, but I find that often recipients end up with a gift that they probably don't want. And there's a really beautiful charity called The Giving Tree, which is a Cambridge initiative where gifts are purchased for children who might otherwise go without. So schemes like this are a great way to spread Christmas Santa Claus cheer while reducing waste from unwanted gifts, and also by doing something good for your community. So if there isn't anything like that in your area, just do a quick search. Action for Children's Secret Santa scheme in the UK is another way you can donate whatever you can to a really great cause. And finally, this is one of my favourite things to do, is to consider setting up a paid staff volunteer day. And if you are a business of one, do it yourself. In 2017, there is an estimated 4,751 people sleeping rough across England on any given night. And throughout the year, why not allow staff to spend a day volunteering to help the community or a local charity? Volunteering is a really great way to bring people together around causes which need extra support, especially in the festive season, like homelessness. So I hope you really like those top 12 tips. If you have any more, please do add them to my list. I'm always really excited to learn new things and to see how we can make our planet just a little bit more sustainable. So have a fantastic Christmas and holiday festive season, guys. Bye!